So, here's something to think about. The Strait of Hormuz sees about 20% of the world's oil supply pass through it every day. That's why, when President Trump warns about mine laying in those waters, it's not just a regional issue, it's a global one.
That's a great point. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most strategically important waterways in the world, and any disruption there could send shockwaves through global markets. Let's dive into what Trump said and what it means.
Right. So Trump told Al Jazeera that international shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz are now free of previously laid mines, but he also issued a stark warning. Any vessels involved in planting new mines would be targeted and destroyed. That's a pretty direct message, wouldn't you say?
It really is. He's drawing a clear line in the sand, or in the water, I suppose. But what's interesting is that he also said he's not in a hurry to negotiate with Iran. That seems like a calculated move to project strength and patience. What do you think his endgame is here?
Well, it's classic Trump. By saying he's not in a rush, he's signaling that he's willing to wait for Iran to come to the table on his terms. It's a way of maintaining leverage, but at the same time, it's risky. If Iran interprets this as a lack of urgency, they might feel emboldened to push their own agenda.
And Iran's response seems to reflect that. Their army spokesperson, Mohammad Akraminia, said they've made significant progress in repairing war-damaged facilities and have even taken delivery of new military equipment. It's almost like they're saying, we're not backing down either.
Exactly. It's a game of posturing on both sides. But what really caught my attention was Trump's comments about Iran's supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. He told the Glenn Beck program that Khamenei is very seriously wounded, but not dead. That's a pretty specific claim.
It is, and it raises a lot of questions. If Khamenei is indeed seriously injured, it could create instability within Iran's leadership. But Trump's decision to make this information public, what do you think the strategy is there?
I think it's twofold. First, it's a way of sowing doubt within Iran's leadership. If Khamenei's condition is as bad as Trump says, it could lead to internal power struggles. Second, it's a signal to the international community that the U.S. has detailed intelligence on Iran's inner workings. It's a psychological play as much as a political one.
That makes sense. And it's worth noting that Khamenei hasn't made a public appearance since taking over as supreme leader. The longer he stays out of sight, the more speculation there will be about his condition and its impact on Iran's political stability.
Absolutely. It's a high-stakes chess game, and both sides are trying to outmaneuver each other. But let's shift gears to something a bit less tense, though no less impactful. The World Cup in New York and New Jersey. What a spectacle that was.
Oh, for sure, the numbers are staggering. Over $3.5 billion in economic output for the region, more than 645,000 spectators at the matches, and another 626,300 non-local visitors attending fan events. It's a massive economic and cultural undertaking.
And it's not just the direct spending. When you factor in the supply chain and household spending effects, the impact balloons even further. But what stood out to me was the job creation. More than 27,000 jobs, with food and beverage, transportation, and lodging seeing the biggest boosts. That's a tangible benefit for the local economy.
Definitely. And let's not overlook the tax revenue, $759.2 million split between state, local, and federal governments. That's a significant chunk of change, even if it's just 22 cents per dollar of economic output. But there's still some debate about the public costs, isn't there?
There is. New York and New Jersey, together, budgeted around $245 million to stage the event, but there's no final audited total yet. Some officials are saying the actual taxpayer burden could be much higher, especially in New Jersey, where estimates go above $300 million. It's a classic case of public investment versus private gain.
And that's where the debate gets tricky. The host committee is highlighting the broader economic and community benefits, like the free and low-cost programming that reached thousands of people. But without a consolidated accounting of total public costs, it's hard to say definitively whether the event was a net positive for taxpayers.
And that's not even touching on the legacy elements like the mini pitches and youth clinics. Those are great initiatives, but they're not the kind of thing you can easily quantify in dollars and cents. It's more about the long-term social impact.
Exactly. It's a nuanced issue. On one hand, the World Cup brought massive economic and cultural benefits to the region. On the other hand, the lack of transparency around public costs leaves room for skepticism. It's a reminder that these mega events are never as straightforward as they seem.
Well said. So, whether we're talking about geopolitical tensions or global sporting events, it all comes down to strategy, perception, and the balancing act between costs and benefits. What a world we live in.
No kidding. And with that, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Any final thoughts?
Just that it's always fascinating to see how these big stories intersect, whether it's politics, economics, or culture. There's always more than meets the eye.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time.
Until next time.